A comeback inspired by Jadon Sancho grabs Manchester United a point, but it is a disappointing night for the Red Devils. They lose their 13-game winning streak at home and drop points to a team they should be beating. Two very poor starts to halves in the first and second, of course, only two halves in a game of football was the difference between 3 points for Man United and just one. Very sloppy in the opening minutes of the first half, very sloppy in the opening minutes of the second half. Outside of that, United dominated the play. They had the majority of the ball. They created the majority of the chances. They had the better chances in the game. But some real sloppy and panicked moments from Manchester United. Now, I'm not going to offer the excuses that I know a lot of rival fans would do. I don't care that Casemiro and Eriksen were out injured. All I've heard all year when Liverpool have had bad games, Arsenal have had bad games, Chelsea have had bad games, City have had bad games. Oh, this player's injured. Oh, if we had our full team out there, it would be different. I'm going to keep the same energy because I'm consistent. Man United should be beating Leeds. We should be beating Leeds. I'll get onto the comeback. I'll get onto Sancho. I'll get onto the positives in a minute because there were some. But United tonight, sloppy. I don't care that Casemiro was out. I don't care that Eriksen was out. I don't care that we only have Weghorst up front because we lost Ronaldo because of bad planning. I don't care about any of these things. We had better players on the football pitch than Leeds. Our issue tonight was not coming out the traps fast enough in both halves. Garnacho being out-muscled, he got bullied by men today, and I don't blame a young man for that, but the decision to start him, hindsight only, and that's what a review is, was poor. I think leaving him on for the first 15 minutes of the second half was a poor decision from Ten Hag. The change should have been made. Putting Rashford on the right is ridiculous. He needs to be on the left or he needs to be central. They're the two positions that Rashford has to be in. But United, for me today, were poor in that regard, and you still saw panic setting in. And today was an example. The Freds of this world, the Weghorsts, these guys will never be good enough long-term for Man United because as that second half was drawing to a close, panic on the ball, panic in these situations. We got the game back to 2-2. And suddenly then there was pressure again. Being 2-0 down kind of relieved the pressure on some of our lesser players today. And that pressure came straight back in as soon as it got to 2-2. So there's a big lesson learned today from Erik Ten Hag, who he can trust and who he can't. Fred being one of those individuals, a stinker of a performance from him in the middle. Irrespective of replacing Casemiro, I expect him. He's better than Tyler Adams. He's better than McKennie. By the way, the commentators were raving about those two. I didn't think they were that great at all. Physical, and that was about it. And I wanted to see more of that from Fred today. I wanted him to stand up to that physical fight, and he couldn't do it. And of course, United need players desperately. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to put pressure on us in terms of telling the players we should think about a title race to see who could handle it. But did I truly believe we could win the league? No, because we don't have the players. But I don't want to hear the excuses, if we had Casemiro, it would be different. Yeah, it would. But you lose players for games in the season. Can you respond without them? Man United played a whole season once without our captain, Roy Keane, and we won the damn league. You don't need your best players to win if what's around you is good enough. And certain players tonight didn't stand up, were not good enough. Some will come good. I very much believe Garnacho will become a quality player for Man United. Today wasn't it for him. Weghorst, I think we're seeing his limitations shine through in games like today. He comes off the pitch, and within a minute, it was one of the most beautiful patterns of play of the game that involved Bruno, Rashford, Sancho. We need more of that in certain games, and the manager's got to get those decisions right. But there were some positives in this game as well. There were some massive positives in this game for Manchester United. Rashford scoring again when he got moved into a more favoured position, a striker's goal. And of course, Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho came onto a hero's welcome and was sensational. And if we would have won that game, it would have been because of him. He would have been the catalyst to it. Everybody else played a part, but he was a catalyst. The ball was moving quicker. His link-up play with Shaw was amazing. But what also shouldn't go unnoticed is what Pellistri did. Now, some will say Pellistri, he played a role in the first goal for United, but it was the balance he gave us. The problem we had in the first half was Garnacho was poor on the left, and Rashford isn't a right-sided attacker. There was no balance. We were predictable. Man United massively missed Anthony tonight. And I know what the reaction will instantly be because I can tell what you're going to say. Not the Terrace community, but trolls. Is Miss Anthony, what does he do? He don't score or assist enough. But it's about balance. It's about the shape. It is about keeping the patterns of play moving, going left, going right. We barely used that right-hand side in the first half. It made it easy for overloads for Leeds, and it makes it easier for them to set traps and counter. And it isn't about missing the individual. It's about the manager making these decisions. Because if we started Palestri or if we started Sancho, maybe Sancho's not got the legs for 90 minutes, but I believe if we start Sancho on the right, Rashford on the left, I don't believe we lose that game. We draw that game, which feels like a loss to me. Even though we come back, it feels like a loss. Standards have got to start to raise at the football club. And I cheered Sancho's goal. I then wanted more. Didn't quite get it. So there's some big learns tonight from Ten Hag. And I think that Rashford going on the right is one of them. It is an absolute no-no. He needs to find a way, especially in these big games, of getting the team to come out raring from the starting whistle because we were poor today. There has to be a massive response Sunday at Ellen Road because it's going to be a raucous atmosphere. There's going to be no Old Trafford crowd to help them. But there's some sloppiness from a few individuals today. Garnacho, I've mentioned. Fred's another one who really disappointed me, with his performance today. I thought Varane, of course, he scores an own goal. It's an unfortunate one. There's nearly 2 own goals from Leeds tonight, but I think was it Cockney scored an own goal, and then there was a great piece of defending. I think it was from McKennie, who stopped the ball from landing on Rashford's foot in the dying moments of the game. But it could have gone in. Sometimes you get those touches, the goalie saves it. It is what it is. But I blame today on the players not being up for this from the first whistle in both halves. Poor mistake from Ten Hag through creating imbalance in the team with Rashford on that right-hand side. Substitutions from him should have come at halftime, in my opinion. I think that would have kicked the players on. They wouldn't have conceded that early goal, and it would have been very, very different in need. And then you get that overall message of, let's keep pushing. We have to finish in the top 4 now. We've set ourselves a base to do it. I expect us to do it. I want to be in title races. Mathematically, we're a handful of points away. But it's moments like tonight that we just don't quite have the mindset for yet. And there still needs to be more investment in this squad. And of course, that isn't to be blamed on Ten Hag as of now. Things will move forward. Was it a red card for Varane? For Lisandro Martinez? No, it wasn't for me. I could see why people would think it would be a red card for him. In my opinion, I think it was, he just turned his leg. There was no look, there was no kick. He just brought his leg back and he caught the guy, said sorry, and that was it. You move on. I think who was lucky to stay on the pitch was Firpo, already booked, late in a tackle on Bruno as he's going through on goal. He could have received a second yellow card. But outside of that, I don't think there were really any refereeing decisions that were wrong. Certainly no handball leading to Leeds' second goal. I know some Man United fans were calling for it online. So absolutely zero handball in that. As I say, Firpo could have got a second yellow, but we've seen a lot recently of yellow cards have been harder to get. We've seen a lot of players not given those second yellows. I think from a Martinez point of view, a lot of you are talking about it. Not for me. It wasn't a kick. There wasn't a jerk reaction like a kick that you would normally do. He was just bringing his leg back over and he caught the player. You could argue maybe, I would say, dark arts of the game, but if you're smart with them, you never get sent off. It's as simple as that. But VAR reviewed it. They didn't see it as a kick. So no, not for me personally. So yeah, if you want to talk about bias, then fair enough. But 1 minute I'm called the most unbiased YouTuber. The next minute when I don't agree with you, I'm unbiased. I think that's just you not being able to handle a different opinion. If you think it's a clear red, let me know why. Get your member chats and get your super chats in as well. Biased kicking in. But Dan Guna, you've literally sent me messages saying you subscribe here because I'm the most unbiased guy around. Come on now. I can't be unbiased and biased at the same time. It's just an opinion. Some people think my Arsenal opinions are biased because I'm dating Jess. Like, it is what it is. I don't think it was a red card. The ref and VAR agreed with me. I'm going to stand by that opinion. But equally, if that's a red, then Firpo should have been sent off. It would have equaled things out nevertheless. We have a super chat here that says Casemiro was missed. Fernandes, Fred, and Garnacho were poor. See, I disagree about Fernandes. Fernandes created 3 big opportunities tonight. The first one of Garnacho's he should have finished. The second one where he plays it through and he rounds the goalkeeper. Garnacho should either put that away or square it to Weghorst for a tap-in. There was also the cross from Bruno Fernandes to set up Rafael Varane. Bruno Fernandes was the most creative player on the football pitch, creating 3 big chances and the joint most chances in the entirety of the game. He made a mistake that led to the first goal. He got caught on the ball. This happens. I don't think that writes off your entire game. Bruno, and what we're doing today to Bruno is what we did to him for years before. Bruno doesn't control the tempo of the game. That isn't his job. Bruno is a creator and a goal scorer, and he did his job today. What we didn't have was the players in the midfield, the Freds. You know, and I'm going to give Sebi a little bit of time because it's his first game. I'm going to give him a little bit of time because it was only his first football match for us, starting. But they didn't control the midfield. Their job is to do what I think you're suggesting Bruno didn't do a good job doing. Garnacho certainly poor today, there's no doubt. Why couldn't we see those second half crosses whilst Weghorst was on the pitch? I think that was because we have Rashford on the right-hand side, who's not a winger in that regard. He doesn't make crosses. He crosses the ball less than Anthony. And Garnacho was having a bad night. So we weren't building up the play to get the balls into the box. We missed Anthony tonight. What Anthony does is he allows balance. We attack equally down the left as we do the right. There is balance. It's hard to defend. When it's hard to defend and know which way you're going, you could create more space. Crosses come into the box. The substitutions did that. In the first half, we knew it was all coming down the left. So they overloaded the left. It stopped the crosses from coming in, and it made it very, very difficult for us indeed. Hindsight is a good thing. Yeah, I mean, that's what a review is, though. A review is basically is hindsight. You know, our minds change. When we see the starting lineup, if Garnacho scores these chances, then it was a masterclass, but it wasn't. He didn't. So it is what it is. It's Manishi says they basically want you to agree with them, Terry. Yeah, I know people want me to agree with them, but if I don't think it's a red, I don't think it's a red. I'm going to stand by that. Simple and as straightforward as that. Another 3-day title race. When is it going to end? Well, I think 20. This is the point I would make. It doesn't make me feel bad in any kind of way, banter-wise, that United have crumbled twice in these circumstances. I think it highlights the improvements that the team needs. It highlights a lack of mentality to go from a team that's playing well, not losing very many games, that's improving, but isn't quite ready for a title race yet. It took Liverpool under FSG, under Jurgen Klopp, is it 2.5, a couple of years until they challenged for a title. It took Arteta 3 or so years to get them to that point. It even took Pep Guardiola 1 season to get Manchester City challenging for a title. So I think for Man United fans, my message is don't be drawn out by banter and get your knickers in a twist and panic. I'm criticizing the team tonight, but I'm not throwing baby out with the proverbial bathwater because there are good things coming here, especially with new owners on the way. Top 4 all drop points. Long time, Terry. Yeah, it's very, very true. And listen, the team that benefits the most tonight is Spurs. Spurs will be buzzing off this result. This was United's game in hand. They extended their lead over them by a point rather than 3. So it opens up that top 4 race massively again. Mistake starting Garnacho. Fred was shocking, but proud of the boys for getting punched in the mouth and coming back. We lose that match last season. Yeah, I mean, yes, last season that game is over. And I think another great positive tonight, again, Rashford keeps scoring. Pellistri did well when he came on. And of course, the return of Jadon Sancho. The fact that we got back into the game because of the flop is great. And if he can come back and keep playing like this, that flop tag is going to go. But expect to see rivals straight away from the next game, creating the mistake threads and coming at him massively because they're desperate for it not to go wrong. That Warwick Davis clone knew what he was doing. I mean, yeah, maybe he did, but doesn't make it a red card. Doesn't make it a red card. It wasn't a clear kick or a punch. He just brought his foot back over. Simple as that. Eat, sleep, 4-day title race, repeat is what Joshua Lovelace says. My lad Terry still looking stressed out from having to spoon feed Lee Gunner, trying to make him understand things. That was a hard conversation last night. To be honest, this game needed Scott McTominay. I mean, look, Scott could have made a difference, potentially. But the problem with him and Fred both do this. They have like a handful of games where they look great, and you start to build some confidence, and they let you down. Neither are good enough. But we know that's a reason, but I'm still frustrated. And what I'm not going to do, I see a lot of fan bases do this now, is they go, right, I'm not going to be criticized at the team and just say, oh, once we get better players, it'll be okay. But you need to criticize the team because there were still mistakes from other individuals. You need to criticize the manager a little bit tonight because he made mistakes. But criticism doesn't mean you dislike him or you want him gone. We've got to create a world of balance where polarized opinions don't dominate. And of course, where dead banter doesn't dominate. Like, dead banter is the worst one for me. You know, United fans will be getting laughed at tonight, but I don't know. I don't really feel, I feel disappointed, but equally at the same time as feeling disappointed, it's sort of like, I know there are positives to come. And you felt that with the way we came back into the game, but you've got to keep the criticism up. You've got to keep challenging because that pressure is what creates diamonds. Thank you here to Carter for your becoming an official member of the Football Terrace. Get your comments in, get your views and opinions in. I want to hear from you people on the channel right now. Really interested to know what's going on, how you're thinking, how you're feeling, what your thoughts are on this game for Man United. Were Leeds robbed? People are saying they were robbed because there should have been a red card. Let me know what you're thinking and feeling now. What does this say here? Terry, you are salty. Let rivals banter. I mean, I'm not saying you can't banter. I'm saying Man United fans, I'm saying I'm not bothered by it. That's not me being salty. I don't know what salty means in this regard. It's like my team's third in the league. We are about 7 or 8 positions above where anybody predicted. We're ahead of schedule in our development. We've got brand new owners on the way that are going to wipe our debt off and give us a great board that are going to take us back to the level we want to be. I'm annoyed, but I'm not throwing baby out with the bathwater. I know that's what rivals want, but it isn't going to happen right now because things are moving in the right direction. What I'm not going to do, though, is sit here and say it's okay. We're ahead of schedule. Dropping points doesn't matter. It does matter. I'm disappointed at that. But balanced critique. We were way too open in midfield. It seems like Garnacho's job was to run Ayling ragged. Happy with Sancho, though. Yeah, the midfield was open. And I put a lot of that down to Fred. He's just a bit of a headless chicken at times. Leaves spaces, leaves holes. Even if you go back and watch the first goal, he got sold by Nonto. I don't think Casemiro does. I think Casemiro reads him and tackles him. And those are the differences. We did miss Casemiro today. But even with conceding those goals, we had opportunities to win the game, to score more goals. So, in my opinion, that cannot and should not be overlooked. King here says no robbery. Yeah, of course there was no robbery today. 110%, zero robbery whatsoever. None. Think the biggest thing fans should be annoyed at is a slow start. Then did it again in the second. P.S. Only kidding about being biased, kind of. I know what you mean there, Dan. Look, I look at it this way. The start of the second, we started off against Palace the other midweek like this as well. And look, there may be some reasons for it. There could be a bit of fatigue, coupled in with, we're playing a lot of games at the minute, a bit of fatigue, coupled in with not having a big enough squad to maintain this level. And what I mean by that is we've got a good enough squad to make top 4, but that isn't the level that we should be aiming for. We should be aiming to be a top 4 team. We should be aiming to be a team that challenges for the title. And the difference between us now and Man United of the past, if we had 2 of our main midfielders out, so if we go back to 2008, the last great team we had, or 2009, if Scholes and Carrick were missing, you had the likes of Owen Hargreaves and Darren Fletcher and Anderson coming in. And maybe not Anderson so much. Anderson between 07 and 09 was very good, if some of you are old enough to remember. But Darren Fletcher is streets ahead of where McTominay was. Darren Fletcher's better than Fred is. And Owen Hargreaves is Owen Hargreaves. That's the level of squad you need to get to. It really, really is. And look, if we go for a whole season and Casemiro, our main players playing pretty much every game, we'd be all right. We'd be even better next year. But you want that depth. So it doesn't really matter. 2 points dropped. Varane poor at the start of both halves. Garnacho needs to be on that bench. His fundamentals are atrocious. Only idiot thinks Martinez was a red. When you say fundamentals, I need you to explain what that means because it's a buzzword and I want to know what you mean by fundamentals, my G. I need to know what you mean by it as opposed to sort of taking an opinion from someone else. I need to know what you mean by fundamentals are off. I don't even think it's that so much. He's a young player. He's broken into a team. He's finding his feet, and he has good game, bad game, good game, bad game. That's what a lot of young players do. Today was a bad one for him. It was under the lights against a massive rival. They outmuscled him. They bullied him a little bit. And maybe you're right. Maybe he should be on the bench, and it should have been him coming on later in the games. Ten Hag will get it right with him, though. But you have to test. And you can't always test against League One, League Two opposition in cups. You've got to test in big game moments. Is he ready? Can he handle it? Right now, not consistently. But you get there. Patrick here, one of our members, says Old Trafford has more history and football pedigree in one seat than City's entire stadium. Well, true. That's no salt, but it's just true. Barcelona are coming for you is from Blue Viper. Yeah, bruv. Police are coming for you, man, at City. I love that City fans are out here still giving. You obviously don't know what you're talking about. See, I don't know what you mean by that, Dads. Tell me what those kind of comments don't make any sense. One, I don't know what part of the show you're watching. And secondly, give me some specificity. Specify. Oh, you're saying Leeds were robbed. Dads. So let me know you support, Dads. It's either Arsenal or Man City or a Leeds fan. It's one of those three things. One of those things. They started putting in crosses once Weghorst was after they took him off. Yes, they did. Maybe though. Listen, I want to be kind here to Leeds. Maybe those crosses started coming in the second half because they thought there's no longer a threat because Weghorst off, so they let the crosses in. Maybe it wasn't anything we did. Sometimes fans of clubs, we try and like come up with some crazy science as to why we were able to change things. Maybe Leeds went right. They're going to go through the middle now, so let's give them more space out wide, and they got it wrong. I don't know. I think it was more the movement was better, and then we were able to get the ball in, and it was balanced. But we'll see. Terry forgot which team do you support, United or Arsenal? Bro, that's dead banter now, G. That banter's over. It's been done. It's been done on about 10 shows. Let's move on. Weghorst to me offers nothing different to Ronaldo. Listen, I can understand why you would say that, DR. I think that he presses better, which is important. His hold-up play is okay. I feel like the first few games, he looked really good, and he's tailed off a little bit. However, he still wasn't meant to play this much. He was meant to be a backup for Martial. Martial can't stay fit. That, for me, is the bigger problem here, that Martial isn't staying fit. But I do hear you. I think you're right, but we need to contextualize that. He didn't link up. He always shoots, doesn't look up when he drives. Same criticism I heard from people for Elanga, but he wants to hide. But we want to hide it for Garnacho. Well, I think that I do think he tries to cross the ball as well. I think he does a bit of both, Joshua. Tonight, his issue was he wasn't getting past Ayling. The couple of times he did, the couple of times he got three, I think he did the right things. People saying he should have squared it to Weghorst. When my attackers have got a partial open goal, I expect them to take the responsibility themselves and shoot. If he squares it to Weghorst and Weghorst misses, you would say, Garnacho, why did you pass it? That type of moving the goalposts, I don't agree with. I think he should be shooting there. He just got outplayed by an experienced man tonight, Garnacho. Experienced man. I think if he scores one of those early goals, though, the game would have been different. His confidence would have been up. Leeds would have dropped back a little bit sooner. He just had a bad night in the office. I wouldn't read too much into it personally. Terry, this new and old manager bounce is quickly becoming a football phenomenon in the EPL. I mean, I don't think it's a new phenomenon. It is what it is. The Leeds players tonight came out and gave their absolute all. But I think the difference between tonight, I've seen a lot of Leeds games like this season where they were a very good footballing team. The difference was tonight is at the beginning of both halves, they scored goals. Nonto's was a great strike. The other one was an own goal. If that strike from Nonto goes wide, if that cross is blocked by Varane and they don't score, United walk away victors tonight and no one mentions new manager bounce. I thought Leeds' performance was good, but I don't think they were sensational. Good saves from the goalie, loads of blocks, big chances missed by Manchester United. It wasn't a shutout. I think Man United had in the game 22 attempts. I think it was our third most attempts on goal and our second, let me just check this, and our fourth highest shots on target at home the whole season. So in the league. So Yeah, it's one of those moments. There was work from them, but you give a team an early lead and it changes their mentality. And I think that the starts to the halves from Man United were sloppy. We should have been more at it, in my opinion. But I don't want to take too much away from Leeds. But new manager bounce has always been a thing. It's been spoken about since I was a kid. I just don't know how young you are, my friend, or how long you've been watching football. It's always been a thing in my world, as far as I can see. But there we go. Um, I'm just going to share the link now. If anybody wants to call in and have their say on this, feel free to. I want to hear from you people. I want to know what you're thinking and you're feeling. Um, uh, share that link now with you all. If there was no Weber, Leeds would have caught a hiding. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Clearances off the line today. There was even down to, and this isn't even a dig. And some people will take it as a dig, but it's just the reality of things. There's a bit of luck at times for Leeds. Yeah, they were good tonight, but I don't necessarily. I didn't. At no point in the game was I like, oh, I can't believe how well Leeds are playing. I didn't really think that. There we go. If the shot doesn't go wide and Varane doesn't score an own goal, Leeds don't score. Terry with the Michael Owen analysis. See, no, but now what you're doing is you're taking it out of the context. We're talking about new manager bounce. Leeds didn't perform tonight to a level that we haven't seen from them under Jesse March. They just took 2 chances, where in other games they've missed chances. So I'm not saying they didn't. You tried to get me there, my G, but it didn't work because you've taken it out of the context of the conversation. Their goals stood. Their goals happened. You can't take them away. But we're talking about new manager bounce. Did that make a difference? In my opinion, no. Because I've seen this from Leeds this year. I saw it when they played Forest the other day. They just missed every chance they had, or the goalie pulled off good saves. So we're talking performance here, not scoring goals or results. Nice try, buddy. Nice attempt. But you've got to get up a lot earlier than that. A lot earlier than that. But there we go. There we go. Oh, we're back to being called the Bias United Terrace now. They were good. They were good. I didn't say they weren't good. Again, you're not listening. Cognitive dissonance. Listen. Leeds were good. Leeds performed well. But was it because they had a new manager? Not in my opinion, because I've seen this level of performance from them many times this season, but they didn't score the goals their performance warranted. We're not saying they were not good. I'm not saying they didn't play well. I'm not saying they didn't score goals. We're talking about new manager bounce. What is hard? What is hard to understand about what I said? I can't understand it. I didn't say they didn't play well. What are you listening to? Wow. I don't know. I don't know what to say there. I literally don't know what to say there when I hear that. We've got Josh coming on first to have his say with me now. Welcome back to the show, Josh. What you saying, buddy?
Yo, peace, everybody. And once again, happy birthday to KJ. Shout out to him as well.
Yeah.
And
what'd you make of the game, the performance, and the result, my friend?
I mean, we see this a lot in sports in general. When you're the favorite, the other team has the chance to come out, be the underdog. And let's be honest, in any type of sport, especially in the Prem, if you're in a relegation battle and they come to Old Trafford, we're their cup final. We weren't up for it. They called us out. We were incredibly complacent. I know Ten Hag is going to be furious at that effort, especially with the defense. Everyone was lackluster. Fred, of course, you make brilliant points about Fred. Fred was the headless chicken today, unfortunately, of the past couple of years. So that's that. But at the same time, the little things, the little fine margins, like Garnacho, I expect that from him. Like he's gonna grow into who he is. So I accept that from him. But for sometimes like Rashford, he's 30, 40 yards out and he's still trying to shoot. And I'm just like, yo, play in Bruno, play in Delo, just for those overlapping runs, things that Sancho would do naturally. Right. So I feel like those little things kind of bothered me. And it has to go back to what you said about the mindset. Right. So you can't just be complacent. You have to really grab it. And that's why Arsenal is where they are, and fair play to them. But we're not there yet. And I
Yeah.
feel like we had our eye on Barca next Thursday, and we're like, oh, we're just going to steamroll them. They're going to lay down, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, listen, I think there's that, and sometimes Man United fans, I want to put pressure on this team, but there's taking stock that we're Premier League wise, we're 22 games into our rebuild, and we are well ahead of schedule. So we should be proud. There should be criticism of mistakes, but a happiness with where we are. But it's about not falling away from this point, not falling out of the top four. You know, getting beat by Barcelona is not embarrassing by any stretch of the imagination. Getting pummeled by Barca and not being competitive is, and that's what I'm going to be looking for next week: a competitive edge against them, as opposed to the last time we played them in the Champions League, the game after we knocked out PSG, they just took us apart over two legs, and I'm hoping that's different this time. I mean, they're not the same Barcelona as well, to be absolutely frank. But I'm hoping that we don't get taken apart. The good thing though about Casemiro's ban is he'll be really fresh for that game. So
oh yeah, he'll be up for that as a Madrista.
Yeah.
He'll totally be up for that.
Yeah, no doubt about it at all. Josh, always a pleasure to speak to you, my friend, and I'm sure we'll chat again soon. Top man, Josh.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Peace.
Cheers, bro. Thank you. Someone here says, Terry, you did say that Leeds, there's no part of the game where you said Leeds were good. No, I said there's no part of the game where I thought Leeds were absolutely brilliant and outstanding and outplayed us and bossed us. That is what I said. If you interpreted that as me saying Leeds were not good, that's on you for misinterpreting. For me, that's not what I said. So yeah, I didn't say they weren't good. This is an interesting one from Sean. Sean says Eric Ten Hag's fault. Rashford on the right, changed the second half, but too late. Yeah, listen, that was a mistake from Ten Hag, and he's got to be criticised for it. And that's where we missed Anthony tonight. We should have started Sancho. The balance is key, And it's funny when I tweeted that we missed Anthony, and a lot of rivals were like, Anthony, how? You don't see all the good things he brings. He needs to give more to make up his price tag, but he doesn't have to do it all in one season. That's going to come over time. But we missed him. We missed someone who's naturally gifted on the right-hand side. When Palestri came on, there was an improvement. Although Sancho and Rashford will take the plaudits for the goals and the drive, giving us that balance down that right-hand side was key. Equally, when Malacia went there, because he has to cut inside on his left, we lost a little something. And I get that he probably couldn't play the low more, risk of injury. You don't want him going out injured. But if the low would have stayed on, I think the game could have been a little different. Gunnar Ryan here says, will that end United fans' hope of a title push? Probably it will. But I don't think, listen, there'll be trolls online. There's a guy that I follow on TikTok because he makes me laugh. He's an Asian dude, got a beard. I can't remember his name, so I apologize. United could score a goal in a game, and he goes, that's it, title charge, we're better than everybody. He's obviously just having a joke. He isn't serious. People see tweets from everyone saying, that's it, we're winning I tweeted yesterday, we've actually got 23 league titles because of the Man City debacle. I don't actually mean it. Like, people take jokes too seriously. I think a lot of United fans are in my mind frame where you're sort of thinking, okay, we're a handful of points away. A win tonight puts us 5 points behind. I want to put pressure on the team to see if they can achieve it. Would United win the league? No. But I want us to put pressure to push through these gateways, to push through these barriers to get to those points. And, we'll get bantered for saying it if we don't win. But I'm not really worried about banter. I'm worried about putting the pressure on my team that fans should put on them that will hopefully develop those diamonds in months and years to come that lead to winning trophies. And then when you look back, who's laughing now? It's imagine I remember all the banter people gave City year one under Pep for not winning a trophy. Do you think City fans or City, the club, care about any of that banter now? I mean, let's see if the league title still stand however long, but there we go. Manicia says, nah, Terry, clearly Sancho still needs to bleed for 45 minutes at a time. Rashford was only option on the right. Lack of options. Well, Palestri was there and came on. Maybe you start Garnacho there. And again, you could be right about that. I get where you're coming from. But we lack that balance. So the rationale might have been correct to start the team the way he did, but that's still a problem for us. Whether it was a mistake by the manager or forced, I think the issue still remains the same. Terry, I cannot wait to buy my 2 and 4-year-old boys and my 2-week-old girl full kits. Can't wait to back my club financially again. Yeah, I'm the same, bruv. Legit. As soon as the takeover, not even complete, as soon as the takeover is like, this is going to be the new owner, I'm doing streams in the studio in full kit, socks. I'm going to buy a pair of boots, everything. I'm going to buy a pair of Man United boots and wear them. I am giving that club so much of my money. I'm going to do $1,000 in the fucking megastore straight away because I miss wearing my club stuff. I miss it, but I walked away, in my opinion, for the right reasons. I respect people that didn't, but I had my reasons and I weren't giving them any more money. Why am I a Man United fan? Very long story short, my nan bought me a Man United kit when I was very, very young. She thought, God rest my nan soul, I love you. She thought she was buying a Tottenham shirt. She had no idea about football. She bought me a United shirt. It was a white one from the late 80s. That was it. I said, Dad, this is my team. And my dad at the time laughed because Man United weren't very good back then. He went, you don't want to support them, son. They don't win anything. I went, all right, Dad. Turned out good. What a fluke. I literally fluked it. KJ's joining us in a minute. First, Abdul's here with me now. What are you saying, Abdul?
Yo, can you hear me, Terry?
Yes, my friend. What do you want to say?
First of all, I actually have a couple questions, and I have a very controversial one, but I'll leave that for the end.
Go on, then.
First of all, Terry, you guys are cooking us next week, man. You guys are cooking us. Don't worry.
You know me, I don't get carried away. Ironically, I said on Monday on the Top 6 show, yeah, we'll beat Leeds, no problem, and then we go and drop points. So whenever I talk like that, something goes wrong. So as far as I'm concerned, Barca's a hard game, but I hear you.
We have big injuries as well, but I will say that I was gonna ask you, like, just the first question of my two questions is that, do you think it's an issue that Rashford and Sancho both excel in the same position?
No, I don't think that it does. I think it creates great competition. I think that Rashford has proven this season that he can go through the middle against certain teams. I also think Jadon Sancho is very good on that right-hand side. And what I would like to see, now I like Rashford on the left, but what I would really like to see is if you've got a striker in, they're both playing wide, alternate them for moments. I think Sancho predominantly on the right, I think we actually need someone right-footed on the right-hand side who can go beyond someone and cut that ball back. I think that would be really dangerous for us. So I'm not really that concerned personally. I've seen him have great games on the right, great games on the left, Sancho. What Sancho's got over Rashford when he's in form is he can do it on both flanks, where Rashford does it left and central. So I think he gives us more options and it gives us problems.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. And my second question, it's a controversial question, Terry. But because if you really look at it, Terry, last season could be classified as a fugazi season for Man United. If you look at your last 5 years, for example, like last year was just horrendous, like to the next degree.
So what you're actually saying is that there hasn't been much progression. Ten Hag's just got us back to the level we were already at. Is that the narrative that's being painted?
No. I was going to ask you something.
Go on, ask the question.
Okay, I'm going to ask the question. If you look at it statistically, in Ollie's last 4 seasons and Ten Hag's season this season, after 22 games, almost same goals conceded, same goals scored, and same points. And he didn't have Casemiro, he didn't have Varane, he was paying Maguire, Fred, McTominay.
So you got to remember that Man United still had players like Nemanja Matic and Paul Pogba in our midfields. These teams, like Ollie had the likes of why am I forgetting his name? The striker, Cavani in his side. Like he had quality players as well. Like let's not forget that a lot of money was invested into Ollie. I think the difference is this: the quality of the majority of the performances. So and the reason why I push back on what you're saying, and it's a fair question, and I was waiting for rivals to start doing this. How can we undo what United are achieving? You guys were the same people that said that the second place finish was Fugazi. You said that Ollie only did it because other teams weren't performing. Now that the manager is performing well and got us to those points, he hasn't actually improved you from what Ollie did. So was Ollie's positions when he came second real, or were they inflated because of weak performances? And so now I'm confused because what rivals are going to do is unravel all the criticism they gave Ollie and how bad he had the team working and the way we fell backwards to try and bring Erik ten Hag down. I get why people would do it in the same way that Liverpool and City fans have painted the narrative that the last 5 years have been the greatest 5 years and the hardest 5 years to win the Premier League ever. Why? Because they want their teams crowned as the greatest sides of all time. So I hear your point, but I think for me, long story short is when watching Man United play in the vast majority of games this year, we've looked better on the ball. We look like we're getting better. We've controlled many more games and we look more sustainable. In terms of conceding the same amount of goals, there have been anomaly games where we've conceded lots of goals. A handful of games where, like, 6 against City, 3 or 4 against you. 10 of our goals came in 2 games, as an example.
But so is the case that season, because I remember you conceded like 6 against Spurs that year as well.
We did, but we actually weren't bad that year. And the thing is,
but that's what I'm saying. Because Terry, can I just counter?
Hang on, stop. But it's not about. He didn't take over from Ollie when Ollie had a second and we were improving. When we went into the beginning of last season, the expectation was the challenge for the title because the season before we'd improved, but then we regressed again. And by the end of
my point is, can I just counter this? Can I counter this?
So you asked a question. What is your point, though? What are you actually saying?
No, but can I counter this just quickly?
Yeah, no, but no, I don't want you to counter it because you've asked your point. What's your actual point, though? Like, are you saying there's been no improvement in this Man United?
What I'm saying is that because the narrative from you last season was very much that this United team is actually just underachieving massively, which everybody can agree on.
Yes.
So what they're doing now, is Ten Hag making them overachieve, or are they just back to their standard, what they were doing under Ollie? Because statistically they are.
I mean, I've answered that question for you, and I've said I don't believe it's the same because I think that what we're doing is we're playing more sustainable football, we're improving, and we're getting better. The style of play is better, and I think over a longer period of time, it's more sustainable. That's it. So I've answered it. So what do you? So what do you think? Do you not think we're better than we were under Ollie?
I mean, I gotta be honest. Based on performances like today, I don't think so. Because when I look at it, like the standout performances this season from United, for me personally, have been that Spurs performance was fabulous. But when you really look at it, bro, even on the Ollie, you guys were always dominating Spurs. You were always playing them off the park. Like, I remember you guys Spurs away when Cavani scored. You guys destroyed them. So when you really analyze it, yes, on the Ollie, you guys would always go behind and comeback merchants. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't know, man. I feel like I've seen today, like
my reason for challenging with you is this though. So if you go back to the 2018-19 season, after 22 games, we were on 41 points. I think we'd lost 5 games. We were actually on the back of a really good, like that was the season that Ollie came in and we went on that really good run. We had the 1920 season, so Ollie's first full year. Let's actually break down what you're saying and see if it's true. We were on
no, the second season, not first season.
Hang on, yeah. So, but let me finish. So the first season, after 22 games, we were on 34 points. So we're definitely behind where we are now, and we weren't playing that well. You then had the 2021 season where we came second. But this is why I challenge you. First of all, people said it was a Fugazi position because Liverpool and Chelsea fell off. The second thing everybody said is United were only doing it because there was no fans. So at the time of achieving that, it was criticized as being an overachievement that we shouldn't take seriously. Now what you're saying is we shouldn't take Ten Hag's improvement seriously because of what Ollie achieved 2 years ago. So what I'm saying is, and I remember you being someone who specifically said it's a false position. Now what you're saying is that it wasn't a false position and Ollie actually was doing a really good job.
Yeah.
So I don't. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Where it's
I understand.
You can't rewrite history and change your opinion like that just because Ten Hag's doing well. Now the difference is, in my view, in my opinion, between what Ollie was doing and what Ten Hag's doing, I think we are getting better as a team. How do we know that? Fans are happy with the performances. And fans aren't stupid. If we were playing like we were under Jose, playing like we were many, many times under Ollie, the frustrations would be there. We know we need more killer instinct up front. We know we need to kill games off more. We know there's still improvements needed, but we are a much better team now than we were. Listen, bro, I appreciate you coming on and having your say, and we'll chat to you again soon. Thanks, Abdul. Top man. Cheers. Thank you. Yeah, listen, I get like rivals want to let him cook in the comment section. But for me, this is a narrative that you're now, I guarantee you, I bet you my bottom dollar, that big content creators of rivals will start to throw this narrative out. And it's fine to do as banter, but Man United fans don't get drawn into it. Just put it back and go, you man said that second was a Fugazi. You guys said there was no sustainability. You guys said it was a nothing season. You said, and the irony in it is as well, is you can't judge Ten Hag based on where Ollie finished 2 seasons ago, because it's not, Ten Hag didn't take over from that team. I think if Ten Hag would have taken over that Man United team that came second, that lost the final to Villarreal, and was able to buy his own players from then, I think we would have had a very good season last year, because there was confidence in that team. There was an element of play. There was a togetherness there, but it all went wrong. And you pick up from where Ten Hag took over a team in pieces, with star players wanting to leave, fights and arguments and all sorts of problems. We're just going to undo all that and go back to and go back to the summer of 20. Pretend we're back in the summer of 2021. That's a weird one for me. It's a weird one, personally. Well, it's not a weird one. I get why rivals would do it. You got to try and undo the rebuild in some way, shape, or form. FFP is an elitist concept. It basically means United can literally spend 600 million a season, but Newcastle can spend 150 a season. They're deducted points. Unfair. It's not unfair. It's based on what your club has organically built over its history, based on how well you've been run for 100 plus years and the success that you've brought in it. It is, for me, the model that I believe in society as well. If I work harder than you, if I make better decisions than you, if I achieve more than you, if I'm better at my job than you, I should earn more than you. If I earn more than you, I should be able to go out and spend more than you. I should be able to invest more than you and make even more money than you. As long as I'm not stealing it out of your back pocket or not allowing you to spend your money or make your decisions, there is no issues with it at all. I think what would be really unfair is for a team to yield success, grow its fan base, become a powerhouse, and then be told you can't spend any more than Brighton. I don't like that concept personally, but there we go. Either way around, somebody would be upset. But if I supported a little team like Newcastle, then yeah, I'd probably think the same as you. KJ's here with me now. What are you saying, bro?
The contractual birthday Man United disappointment happened in that first half and a bit of the second half. But after that, I'm not gonna lie, Terry, I'm actually not that vexed at this game, because yes, we went down to a wonderful strike in the first minute and then a baffling lead up to an own goal. Cool. But the fact that we fought back, that we kept on going, and we, even in the first half, we should have scored 2 or 3, like 2 goals. Like, Garnacho wasn't his night tonight at all. But we kept fighting, we kept going. And towards the end, when it was 2-2, last year, even if we got to that point, we wouldn't look like scoring, but we looked like we was going to score the third, and it just didn't happen. You know what I mean? Sometimes it happens. The Leeds obviously played as well as they did because of the caretaker manager bounce. You know what I'm saying? Man like Chris Armas at the wheel and that. But we kept fighting. And even though some players had poor performances, Garnacho wasn't his night tonight. He's a young lad. He will learn from that. Fred, I swear, towards the end, he was trying to play against us. You know what I mean? He must have had a bet with someone that was going to lose or something. Hold tight, Ivan Toney. But but yeah, as a Man United fan, I can look at that performance and be like, no, Ten Hag is building something. He's building mentality. He makes mistakes.
But we're no better than Ollie's team 2 years ago, so there's been no progression.
No progression. You know what I mean? It's what it is. We're just gonna implode in 3 years' time, and the cycle goes around again. But now, on a real note, I am genuinely like, yo, this team can build on from here. It ain't happening this season. There's just too many holes. We need a deeper squad, because one player going, Casemiro gone, and it's like crap. Panic stations. We've had to play 2 8s in the DM role together, and both of them didn't know what to do for the flipping an hour. You know what I mean? So yeah, like Ten Hag with the right backing, and again, backing is not just money spent, but on the right people with the right structure. I believe in this team. I believe Ten Hag can build something for Man United in the next couple of years, honestly. So yeah, it was a performance that you look at, you're annoyed about the result because he's at home as well. We've got to play them on the weekend away. But if you look at the mental fortitude, that is something I want to see from my players. And they're probably annoyed because they didn't win. And I like that. I like the fact that it'll be like that. So yeah, overall, it's just one of those years. But Sancho is back. Sancho is back,
great,
baby.
He was great. He impressed me. He looked good, and we just want to see more. I feel like that's how he started the season, personally. And then kind of tailed off a little bit. We know there's been some mental health issues and stuff like that, but yeah, hopefully there's more of this to come from him as things progress over the course of the season. But I hope there is, because you saw tonight he's brilliant. And I think to Abdul's first question again, I didn't go into it too much with him. By the way, a few people saying, Terry, why are you rude to that caller? Abdul's been calling him for years, and the reason that I got frustrated at him is because in the summer, when people said about Barca, could you have too many players in one position? He said it's never a problem to have two great players that play in the same position. Then he's asking the question, is it wrong to have Sancho and Rashford? And the second reason is he used to literally call in and tell United fans to calm down, that nothing Ollie's doing is good. The points have only been because other teams are crap and you shouldn't read into it. Now he's coming on and he's trying to paint a picture that we haven't improved. So that's why I was being short with him, because the guy's literally coming on here hypocrisizing himself.
But
so
Terry,
if you guys are new to the Terrace, you won't recognize all the callers. That's why. Simple as straightforward as that.
But to me, that's a beautiful sign. It's a beautiful sign that we're going in the right direction. Because when it was Ollie, it was all cheers. You know what I mean? It was all cheers. It was all laughter. It was Ollie's at the wheel, Ollie's at the wheel. Like, it was all of that. Now they're finding things to say Ten Hag's crap at this. He's not actually making real progress. Oh, it's because he's actually been backed. Like, now we expect you to do X, Y, and Z because he spent on 200 million. Like, I love it because they can see where this manager is going. Bold is best, and I absolutely love it. And happy for Sancho. Obviously, Rashi, my guy, doing his thing, and we're on the right track. We're on the right track. I was frustrated with the Crystal Palace draw. I was frustrated with the Arsenal loss, but today is a performance where I saw mental fortitude, and we didn't crumble. We actually rose up, and in the end, we just couldn't get over the line. I can deal with that. I can deal with that.
And I agree. And that's, as you say, if this was under Ollie, you know, in that season of Ollie, if we'd have drawn this game, it would have been no pen, no party. Ollie's at the wheel, celebrating the fact that Ollie was still here. Now, as soon as rivals, and there's a guy in the comments that says, Terry, you can't tell rivals how to banter. You don't get to pick that. I know I don't, but I can be completely unbothered by it and say it's dead, bruv, and it's rubbish. And the reason I say it's rubbish is because it's predictable. As soon as people start trying to dismantle how good a player of yours is, or a manager is, you know they're brilliant. If there's a desperation to dismantle them, look at Darwin Núñez. No one's trying desperately to dismantle him. They're just laughing at him. But you have like Enzo Fernandez who joined Chelsea, and people are starting almost like scientific, surgical level threads on all the intricate things that he's doing wrong. And that ain't even banter. That's like actual hard work. To sit there and think of what Abdul did, like, man's sitting there going, right, how can I turn this into a negative for Man United? That's just like, that shows you're on the right tracks. If you sign a player and people are starting mistake threads, that means you've signed a brilliant player and they're scared. It's as simple as that. Arsenal fans recognize that this year because it's happened to them. So I do agree with you. I'm glad that we're kind of moving in that policing banter again. Policing it would be stopping it. Saying it isn't funny isn't policing it, my bro. Saying dead banter is not my fault that your banter's dead. So yeah, Paul, I don't talk down to people. I shut people down when they come on here and they change their tune. You know, if KJ comes on here and says, I love players that do tricks and flicks and skills in games, and then the next show says, I hate when players do tricks and flicks in games, I'm gonna come at him hard, bro, because we just don't do hypocrisy on the football team.
Why do you think him and Lee always get into it? Because obviously Lee's a flip-flop, innit? He's a flip-flop, innit? So...
That's what it comes down to. That's it. Simple.
Don't come for me, Lee. I'm joking.
Simple as that. This comment here says, don't look now, but the title race is getting tight. It is. I mean, and that's, listen, from a United point of view, it's annoying. But from a perspective of the Premier League, and more so Tottenham, what a great result for them tonight. They'll look at this and go, right, you know, we win our next game, then they've got Leicester. We play Leeds. I mean, we're away at Leeds. I'm worried about playing Leeds away now. Leeds away Sunday's going to be a big game.
I'm hoping that they put everything into this game, and that late in that game we just demolish them in it. But it's gonna be tough if we have to play Sabitzer Fred again. It's gonna be a long day. We cannot play playing. Today was chaos ball. Today I said to my dad, I actually wish we had Ollie, because Ollie knows
Well,
chaos ball.
this is the
Ollie
difference.
understands it.
Well, this is the difference between us now and under Ollie, is we haven't killed games off. Barring Rashford, who's been scoring, we don't have any other killers in our attack at the minute. We did in Ollie's seasons where we did well. There was Cavani, obviously Rashford. You had Bruno in the goal scoring form of his life.
Well well,
Martial was playing well. Pogba chipped him. We actually had lots of players in that season who they were not all going to score 25, 30 goals each, but they were all good at scoring goals. We don't have that right now. If you actually look at our last, say, 10 games as an example, and I look back at them and think performances, we were the best in most of them. If you go back to, just going to look at the Premier League only for a minute, because we won our other games. Look at the Premier League. Barring the Arsenal game, we beat Palace, but we should have put that game to bed before it got sticky, as an example. Palace, it's weird how we play Palace and Leeds all so close to each other in this little space of time. Palace, when we drew 1-1, should have put that game to bed. You know, Bournemouth, we beat them 3-0. Wolves, we were all over them. The fact we only won 1-0 was because we don't have killers on the pitch. Battered Nottingham Forest. Fulham was a tight game, to be fair. We got beat by Villa. Again, the West Ham game and the West Ham game, the Chelsea game, and the Spurs game. I'd say this is what I don't know what Abdul's talking about. We dominated all three of them games, but we only scored 2 goals against Tottenham and then 1 goal in the other 2. Once we develop and/or buy some more killers in this team, that is when we'll start scoring those extra 1.5 goals on average. Not obviously, you can't score 1.5 goals per game, and you'll see a difference. But the control of the matches is there, the foundation and the base is there. So that's what I would say. JP said, I don't really agree with that analogy, Terry, but I get what you're saying. What about the spending of money? Yeah, listen, some people think all clubs should be limited to spending the same wage caps like the NFL, and then it makes it really fair. The problem is that what you don't have in England or in European football is the draft system. You don't have colleges and universities developing players ready for professional games. Clubs have to do that themselves. So what is the incentive to win, barring glory, if you don't get financial benefits, but short-term and long-term over it? Because there's actually an advantage to not being bad. Like, there's an advantage to being bad sometimes in the NFL, because you get you get better draft picks. But imagine you developed your own young players, and then the teams who perform bad got them. Imagine Saka got given to a team that got relegated.
Yeah, and even with that, Terry, it'll be, people will complain, because then it's like, say if you can't, okay, you got a wage cap and you can only start using players from your academy. Well, the teams that can attract better young players through the academy or in the area where just magically good players grow, they'll be like, well, that's not fair. They're in an area where all of them play football really good. Like, so everyone's gonna be complaining anyway.
Like how big London is compared to other cities. Yeah, there's always, you can always find unfairness in it. I like the model we have. I think FFP should exist, but with stricter regulations on bad owners and slightly looser regulations on wealthier owners. But then clubs need to be protected. But I do agree that if a team starts winning and it grows its fan base and its revenue grows, they should be allowed to spend it. Respect your loyalty, but Lee Gunner painful inability to understand and to debate logical points is spoiling what is otherwise a genre-leading content. I appreciate what you're saying, Nick. I will say this about Lee Gunner and the content. Not everyone, Lee Gunner isn't for everybody. No, so, my conversation with him are very different from me and Big Steve. Very different from me and Jess. I enjoy personally the variety of characters. It gives us something different. You may see Lee on camera. I'm not watching this one today, but then loads of people want to. And I think if there's variety, we're moving in the right direction. Is Scott available for Sunday? No idea personally, because I don't obviously watch the press conferences on the app or read any of the news on the website. So unless I see it on Twitter, I don't know. Until the owners are gone, I will not be participating on Man United's apps or websites. Do you have any information on the on Qatar? Nothing new has changed from the stream this morning. So let's see what kind of happens from this point moving forward.
Did you hear about the minority stake comment that came out?
No.
So basically, some of the news is that instead of it being fully owned by this Qatari investor group, whatever which one it is, because there's multiple, instead of them fully owning it, it would be them having a minority stake in a consortium, who then buys Man United. So I think they're trying to work around the PSG thing. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, it basically means Qatar's going to own a club. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. The same as the way that they did the ownership structure with the Saudi takeover, they had to do a little workaround. But yeah, they'll get it done. There is no doubt. Terry, I really want to know about the Martinez foul on Somerville or what happened.
That's not a foul. It wasn't a foul.
First of all, it was outside the box. There's no such rule as last man. There never has been. It's always been denying a clear goal scoring opportunity. And even now, as long as there's a genuine attempt to win the ball, which you could argue his leg down across was, it's only a yellow card. So there would have never been a red card for that. It wasn't a foul because it was a coming together of thighs, and his leg didn't cross him. So yeah, it was close. In real time, I thought, oh, no, he's tripped him. When I saw the replay and his leg didn't go across him, no foul.
It wasn't a foul. And if you think it's a foul, then we should have had a pen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was no more a foul than the nudging Rashford's back. Yeah, and I didn't think Rashford was a penalty either. So yeah, I think from that standpoint, I wouldn't be overly concerned at all. But there we go. Listen, I want to say a big thank you to this here Terry just started streaming. You don't care of this. You don't care of that. How many games have you played over the last weeks? Come on, how many? The squad is thin, so think they're tired. So listen, again, I get what you're saying. Yeah, no, what I said is I don't care that Casemiro and Eriksen are out. I still think we have the capability of beating Leeds. And I stand by that.
Yeah, we did. And we did. We clearly did.
If we started this, we still outplayed them. We still should have won this game after conceding 2 goals. The problem we had, if we didn't start slowly, Marcus, which is on us, not on Leeds starting fast. We were sloppy, both halves. And if we took our chances, we win this game. And we had an abundance. We had easily in this game 6 or 7. I mean, Varane should be scoring his header. Varane should be scoring that opportunity as an example. You know,
Bruno should have been better shot of far post.
Yeah, Bruno at the far post as an example.
Fred's multiple shots.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But for me, it's like if we were up against Arsenal today and it was close and we drew or lost by a goal, but you had our 2 main midfielders out, I would say, man, if we had our best 2 midfielders and they had their strongest team, but against a relegation team, against a team down the bottom, I don't expect us to lose at home. And a draw like today is borderline losing for me, in my opinion. But I hear where you're coming from. I just don't want to put out any excuses. The standards have got to be high at Man United, and we've got to push these players. That doesn't mean, though, that we get the banners out and ask for the manager to be sacked. But there we go. Terry, what's your opinion on Spurs, who you and a number of other people have bantered on TFT for are only 4 points off United, who are having a really good season? It's another really good try, Lulu. But the difference is this. Performances. We spoke about this many times, and I know you've watched the streams because you've left comments on them, Lulu. But I'll give you your moment of glory on this one. Essentially, Tottenham's performances have been awful. And I think at one point this season, they had an 8-point lead over Man United. Maybe even bigger than that if we go back a handful of games. They had their greatest ever start to a season ever in their history. And they were about 8 or 9 points ahead of Manchester United. Since that point, we fast forward 10, 11 games, United are now 4 points in front of them. So you're talking about a 12-point swing. And based on that trajectory and the performances, I've been criticizing them. However, if you watch the streams, you would see me say on Sunday, if Spurs perform as they did against City on a more regular basis, I can 100% see them making the top 4. But if they maintain their performances for the last 12 games, for the next 12 games, they will finish anywhere between 5th and 7th. So that's what it's based on, performance. And the fact that you're looking at United are having a really good season, only 4 points ahead, you're ignoring the swing of points. You're ignoring the change of trajectory. You're ignoring where they were and we were just 12 to 13 games ago and how we've caught them and surpassed them. So that there, my brother, is the difference. To ignore the context is a madness. But I know you're not. But I thought I'd give you your 2 minutes of fame there, my friend. I appreciate you. And you watch all my streams as well, Lulu. So I appreciate you doing that. I really, really do. Spurs have been poor, but have grinded out results. I mean, we say they've grinded out results. Let's have a look at the Premier League here as an example. I think there might be 2 on the bounce wins now. 1, 2, 3, 4. They've won 4 of their last 10 games. And people are having a go at me. Since Man United beat them, they've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games. And have only won 5 of them. They've won 5 games from a possible 12 as an example, which I don't think is good enough for them. From Man United's point of view, in that time period, United have obviously played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 as well, and won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. So United won 8. Like, so that's 9 points difference there. And then it's the performances and the trajectory. So yeah, I think to ignore that is, I think to ignore teams' consistent good or consistent poor performances is a problem. And even today, I tweeted before the game, and maybe this was why we didn't win. Like, our home record shouldn't be ignored, but we still came back. Like, the point I'm making, at home is becoming a dangerous place for us. And I think that to ignore that when you're talking about how well a team's doing is crazy for me. Equally, if someone's performing badly, you've got to call it out. But there we go. Terry, the protagonist Man City did not cheat and is not under charges. Bring your evidence that they match fixed in football. I don't know what you mean by that, bro. I'm only showing you what's out there about Man City. Do you know what I do find about the Man City stuff at the minute? The same City fans saying we didn't do it are also saying the emails were hacked illegally. Like, if those emails were hacked illegally, it means they're real. So I don't know what to say to you. I don't know what to say, but there we go. Terry, United have won just 2 of their last 5 games. Yeah, they have. And I think Man United will be frustrated about that. There's no doubt about it. But then they've won 6 of their last 10. Depends on what narrative you want to kind of put that into. With Man United, though, it's definitely disappointing to drop points today. That's today and is the game I'm most disappointed with, along with the Crystal Palace game. It's about what you do from this point. However, I didn't criticize Tottenham's results. I criticized Tottenham's performances, and could they get over that? If Man United performed like they did today, without the sloppy starts to halves, against Leeds on Sunday, against Leicester, against Brentford when they play them, against Southampton when that game comes up soon, they'll win. So I can take comfort from the performance as opposed to the results. I'm not panicking about United only winning 2 of their last 5 games. I'm not panicking about it, although I want more points. That's my different. I hope that makes sense, Kieran. Like, performance is important. Results obviously matter the most, but when it's talking about what direction you're going in, when you make predictions, no one makes predictions based on results. We make predictions based on performance and results collectively, I think, is what I would say. Which is why I say I think we'll make top 4, but I know we can't win the title.
Also, you got to add a bit of judge as well, because, listen, it's been 4 years since around my birthday we've won a Premier League game.
I think we just need to ban you from having birthdays, KJ. That's what we've got.
Yeah. You ban me from having birthdays and ban you from saying anything good about Man United, and I think we should win the league. Like...
I hear that. Listen, viewers, I really appreciate you all coming on and having your say. Terry, those emails were not evidence. UEFA was destroyed in court by Man City when they brought them up. Those emails that I read, that they only got released a year ago, so I don't know. But there,
and
there
also, you gotta. Why did they get destroyed? Why did UEFA get destroyed? It wasn't because the emails weren't real. It's because they were time barred. So that means they still happen, my brother. So they didn't get destroyed, did they?
There we go. There we go. Listen, until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. We'll see you all soon.